kick off with you, Siobhan. Do you have faith in the police if your home gets broken into, your car gets stolen, your phone gets nicked?
I think the problem is there's not enough of them. There's 310 police officers to every 100,000 Londoners.
Wow.
So no matter how brilliant those individual guys are, they just cannot control that situation. And that is why we have situations where, you know, they're making these ridiculous decisions, like if it's under £200 for shoplifting, we're not going to go. Because they're constantly being called to do other things. They're also being called to look after mental health patients. If someone rings and says they're going to do something to themselves, it's the police that have to get there. They're just on this constant cycle of, you know, where have I got to be? And then also there are so many rules about what they can and can't do, because they need to be seen to be fair. If they go to a protest march, they're not allowed when, it's the oil people.
Just Stop Oil.
Just Stop Oil. They were not allowed to pick them up for 1 hour because they had to look like they were being fair and reasonable. So I have massive sympathy for them, but I also understand why people don't have confidence in them, because we don't have enough of them and, you know, they don't have enough power, really, to cope.
I mean, one of the situations is that you don't see police, Lynn, on the beat. You know, people used to know their local bobby. I know I'm talking about Dixon of Dock Green. I know I'm going back a long way. But, you know, in the era of Z cars, you did have a police officer that you knew. Schools were assigned one. I remember my kids used to have a police officer that went to their school all the time. You know, you were meant to know who your police were, know that they were there. Maybe this is a bit kind of looking back through rose-tinted spectacles, but you were at least meant to know that there was a policeman around if you needed one. I don't think that's the situation now, because as Siobhan quite rightly says, there are not enough police around, are they?
Yeah, I think they've closed a lot of police stations as well. And I would have supported many of the things that you just said. The only issue and the frustration is when there is certain incidents, they over-police, or their resources are all channeled into incidents that doesn't need to be. So, for example, with tweets online or certain incidents with the WhatsApp group, we saw far more police officers at that sort of situation. That happened in Hertfordshire. There was like 6 police officers to query what happened in a WhatsApp group. There's no reason for 6 police officers to be at an incident like that, especially when there's so many crimes that are going unresolved. Car thefts, 90% of them are unresolved. And, you know, I had an incident working with youth where there was literally the ages between 9 and 12-year-olds. An older lady was called up the police due to some sort of noise, and several police officers turned up, and these were small boys not doing anything dramatic, you know, playing with a ball. So again, I understand where you're coming from, but where I feel that real policing needs to be there, they don't seem to be there. We're seeing an increase in, you know, phone thefts on the street. Even myself, I feel like I have to hold the top of my phone now when I'm walking through London, as opposed to just because we're seeing so many videos of this increased theft on the street.
Crime, that kind
moped
of thing.
crime,
yes,
but
moped crime. But the feeling that if you call the police, A, they won't come, and B, if they ever do come, you'll end up with a crime number which was relatively meaningless and nothing else, you know. And even if you say, but I've got a tracking device in my phone, I know where my bike is, I know who the people are, I've seen them before, or there are drug dealers on the corner of my street. Look, they're just there, they're always there, they're there at this time. If you come at this time, you will find them. A feeling that the police don't come. Now, it might be because there aren't enough of them, you might be right. It might be that they're deployed doing other things. God knows, but there is this kind of feeling that it's futile. If you ring them, it's pretty pointless. Let's talk to Robert in Cornwall. I think he's got a different view. Hi, Robert. Thanks for ringing. Do you trust the police to help you out if you're the victim of a crime?
Oh, yeah. It's I think they get a bad
rap?
Bad rap sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I was walking back from a town in Cornwall.
Yes.
Going back to the hotel, and a guy was beating up a copper on the road, or a police officer on the road.
Gosh.
And his other mate, the copper, was trying to arrest somebody on the other side. So I jumped on and I got the guy off the copper and held him on the floor while he helped his mate across the road arrest the other guy and put him in cuffs. He came back, and I was still holding the guy on the floor, and they cuffed him and arrested him and took him away. But they get so I got a commendation for that.
Oh, well
of
done.
the chief inspector.
Gosh, did you think twice, or are you just the kind of guy that you can handle yourself well in a fight? You're able to just pull this guy off the cop? My goodness.
Yeah. Oh, he was quite a big lad as well.
Goodness me,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And so we think of Cornwall as a kind of beautiful, rural, delightful
Yeah.
area. Would you say that
Yeah.
you see coppers on the beat? There are policemen that you know, you are familiar with them, etc., or not really?
Not really, because the local officer, he died a few years ago.
Yeah.
And he was always on the beat around Falmouth, like, but I don't think he's been replaced since then.
Right.
But
So,
there's been other times when there's been instances where I got involved with other things. A girl got beat up, and her husband was very intimidating, and he had tattoos on his face and everything. And the night porter said, "We've got to do so." So I ran over to the road,
yeah.
and he's just about to attack her again because he's kicking her in the stomach.
Gosh.
So I drop kicked him, got him out of the way, and
Wow.
I went back into the hotel, and he smashed the porters there. We shut the door so he couldn't get in. And the girl was saying, "Oh, get off my boyfriend."
Well, that's exactly why people say they don't get involved in a domestic, for exactly that reason. You get involved, you risk your life, and you could end up when the girl's saying, "Oh, get off my wonderful boyfriend, husband who I love." Robert, thank you very much. I know you wanted to say something, Siobhan. What did you want to say?
No, it was fine. It's fine.
Okay.
You just covered it off.
Okay, good. All right. Let's go to Ian in Staffordshire. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Vanessa. You're looking as glamorous as ever.
Thank you very much. Do my best.
What it was about 20 years ago, my car was vandalised very specifically. So they took wing mirrors, aerials, things that they could use on their own Astra.
Yeah.
And the person who did it bragged about it to his neighbours who lived opposite,
Oh, my goodness.
who happened to be my girlfriend's brothers and mother.
Right.
So I told the police, and nothing happened, which was a bit sad. I mean, it was sad, but there's just not enough police. I've got a lot of respect for the police. This is one incident where they just haven't got enough.
Yeah, they're just under enforced. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you very much indeed, Ian. It does seem to be the case, doesn't it, that they're just spread incredibly thin.
They are spread incredibly thinly.
I mean, I think...
I don't know that. I want to say that when I have come into contact with the police, maybe because they're not being supported, but I don't get that sort of, efforts to really do the best they can. There's that nonchalance of there's not much we can do. And I think even as an individual police officer, you need to turn up and show up for your job. I'm going to do my best. And I don't get that sense from the police, having worked with them as well. I don't get that sense that I used to get maybe 10 to 15 years ago.